Good morning, dear students. Today, in economics, we are going to continue the same chapter, that is, sectors of Indian economy. Children, in our previous lecture, we have studied about the classification of economic activity, in which we have studied about the primary, secondary, and the tertiary sector, and we have seen how goods and services are produced in different sectors. Now, today we are going to study how do we count the total production in the three different sectors, what are the problems associated with it, what precautions should we take while estimating the total production from the different sectors. Children, we will also study how do we count the various goods and services. Now children, first let's see how do we count the various goods and services and know the total production in each sector. Children, to know the total production in any of the three sectors, we need to count the goods and services produced in that sector in a financial year. This counting of goods and services involves two problems. First one, there are too many goods and services produced, so counting them would be difficult task. With so many thousands of goods and services produced, you might think this is an impossible task. Not only would the task be enormous, you might also wonder how we can add up the chairs, cars, computers, nails, etc. It won't make any sense. Children, you are right in thinking so. Children, to get around this problem, economists suggest that the value of goods and services should be added. The final value of goods and services should be added rather than adding up the actual number. For example, if 10,000 kg of wheat is sold at rupees 8 per kg, the value of wheat will be 80,000. In the same way, the value of 5,000 coconut of rupees 10 per coconut will be 50,000. Children, the value of goods and services in the three sectors are then added up. Children, remember this, one has to take precautions while calculating the total production of a different sectors, because not all goods and services that are produced and sold need to be counted. We count only final goods and services and not the intermediate goods. This is because intermediate goods such as cotton, sugar, flour, etc. are used up in the production of final goods and services, that is, cloth, biscuits. The value of final goods and services already includes the value of intermediate goods. If we include the value of intermediate goods separately, then it will lead to the double counting. Children, just see in this photograph and see the example. Consider this example. A farmer sells wheat to a flour mill for rupees 8 per kg. The mill grinds it and sells the flour at rupees 10 per kg to the biscuit company. The biscuit company uses the flour along with the sugar and oil to make 4 packets of biscuits and sell it to the consumer at rupees 15 per packet. The biscuit are the final goods here, and their value, that is rupees 60, has already included the value of intermediate goods such as flour. Thus, if we count the value of flour again, we will be counting the value of same thing a number of times. Now children, let's see the concept of final goods and intermediate goods. The final goods are goods which are used either for the final consumption or capital formation, and the value of final goods is included in the national income. For example, the examples of final goods: television, chair, bread, etc. And the intermediate goods are the goods which are used up in a producing of the final goods and services. That means all those goods which are used by the producers for producing other goods, we call it as a intermediate goods. The value of intermediate goods is not included in the national income. Now children, what is gross domestic product? Children, the value of final goods and services produced in each sector during a particular year provides the total production of a sector for that year, and the sum of the production in three sectors gives GDP of a country. Children, you have to learn what is GDP. GDP means the value of final goods and services produced in each sector during a particular year provides the total production of the sectors of that year, and the sum of production in three sectors gives GDP of the country. Children, it is the value of all final goods and services produced within the country during a particular year. It shows how big the economy is. Children, estimation of GDP in India is measured by central government ministry. Children, once again I am repeating, who estimates the GDP of our country? This task is undertaken by central government ministry. This ministry, with the help of various government departments of all the Indian states and union territories, collects the information related to the total volume of goods and services and their price, and then estimate the GDP. Now, the historical change in the sectors. Children, now we will study what does the history of developed countries indicate about the shift that have taken place between the sectors. Gradually, it has been noted from the histories of many developed countries that at initial stage of development, primary sector was the most important sector of the economic activity. With the change in the method of farming, the production increased tremendously. Now, people could do the other activities such as trading. They therefore became craftspersons and the traders. Increase in production of grains and the other things led to the growing need for the transportation and the other facilities. But in spite of this, at these days, most of the goods produced by the natural product from the primary sector, and the most people are also employed in this sector. With the passage of time, machines were invented, factories were established to manufacture various goods. Gradually, industries were established. In the industrial sector, more and more people were employed. As a result of these changes, the secondary sector became more important in the total production and employment. Thus, the importance of sector has changed. Children, in the past 100 years, there has been a further shift from secondary to the tertiary sector. In the developed countries, tertiary sectors is also called the service sector because it provides basic services such as teachers, doctors, lawyers, internet cafe and the ATM booth, etc. The service sector has become the most important in terms of total production. Most of the working people are also employed in the service sector. This is a general pattern observed in developed countries. Now children, let's see why the tertiary sector becoming so important in India. Children, as you know, tertiary sector is the service sector that provides support to the primary and secondary sector. Although the production in all the three sectors has increased, but it has increased the most in the tertiary sector. Now children, we will see the reasons why the tertiary sector is becoming so important. Now the first one is the basic services. Children, in any country, basic services such as hospital, educational institutions, post and telegraph services, police station, courts, village administrative office, municipal corporation, defense, transport, banks, etc. are required. This can be considered as the basic services. Children, in the developing country, the government has to take the responsibility for the provisions of these services. Now the second point is the development of primary and the secondary sector. Children, the development of agriculture, industry leads to the development of services such as transport, trade, storage. The greater the development of primary and secondary sectors, the more would be the demand for such services. Such services means tertiary sectors. Now the third reason is rise in income level. Children, as the income level rises, certain section of people start demanding many more services like eating out, tourism, shopping, private hospitals, private schools, and professional training centers. We can see this change quite sharply in cities, especially in the big cities. Children, now the fourth point, the rise in the information technology. Children, over the past decades or so, certain new services such as those based on information and communication technology have been important and essential for the production of these services. It has been rising rapidly. Now I think children, it is clear that why is the treasury sector becoming important in India. That's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.